હેલો ફ્રેન્ડ્સ, હું બારિયા દર્શન. આપણે ડાયજેસ્ટિવ સિસ્ટમ ભણીએ છીએ એના 4 પાર્ટ આપણે પહેલાં કમ્પ્લીટ કર્યા. જેમાં પાર્ટ 1માં આપણે ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શન ને પ્રોસેસ ઓફ ડાયજેસ્ટિવ સિસ્ટમ કર્યું. પાર્ટ 2માં એલિમેન્ટરી ટ્રેક્ટ છે એના 4 લેયર પૂરા કર્યા. પાર્ટ 3માં માઉથ, એમાં ટંગ અને ટીથ, અને પાર્ટ 4માં ઇસોફેગસ અને ફેરિંગ્સ પૂરું કર્યું. તો આજે આપણે સ્ટમક ભણવા છીએ. The stomach is the J-shaped dilated portion of the alimentary tract situated in the epigastric region, umbilical and left hypochondriac region of the abdominal cavity. જે આકારનો છે અને એપિગેસ્ટ્રિક, અમ્બિલિકલ અને લેફ્ટ હાઇડ્રોકોન્ડ્રિક રિજનમાં આવેલું છે. ઓર્ગન એસોસિએટેડ વિથ ધ સ્ટમક, એન્ટેરિયર લેફ્ટ લોબ ઓફ લીવર એન્ડ એન્ટેરિયર એબ્ડોમિનલ વોલ. બે એન્ટેરિયર એટલે આગળ, પોસ્ટેરિયર એટલે પાછળ. એબ્ડોમિનલ આયોટા, પેનક્રિયાસ, સ્પ્લીન, લેફ્ટ કિડની એન્ડ એડ્રિનલ ગ્લેન્ડ આવેલી છે. ડાયાગ્રામમાં આપણે સ્ટમકનું લોકેશન જોઈ લઈએ. તો સ્ટમકની ઉપર એબ્ડોમિનલ વોલ છે, પેનક્રિયાસ છે પાછળ, કિડની છે, લીવર છે. જે લોકેશન રાઈટ કિડનીમાં રાઈટ બાજુ છે તે પાછળ છે. આપણે એન્ટેરિયર ને પોસ્ટેરિયર જોયું. સુપેરિયર છે ડાયાફ્રામ, ઇસોફેગસ ને લેફ્ટ લોબ ઓફ લીવર. ઇન્ફેરિયરલી ટ્રાન્સફર કોલન અને સ્મોલ ઇન્ટેસ્ટાઇન. To the left diaphragm and spleen. To the right liver and duodenum. Structure of the stomach. The stomach is continuous with the esophagus at the cardiac sphincter and with the duodenum at the pyloric sphincter. It has two curvatures. The laser curvature is short, lies on the posterior surface of the stomach and is downwards continuation of the posterior wall of the esophagus. Just before the pyloric sphincter, it curves upwards to complete the J shape. Where the esophagus joins the stomach, the anterior region angles actually upwards, curves downwards, forming the greater curvature, then slightly upwards towards the pyloric sphincter. The stomach is divided into 3 regions: the fundus, body, and the antrum. At the distal end of the pyloric antrum is the pyloric sphincter, guarding the opening between the stomach and the duodenum. When the stomach is inactive, the pyloric sphincter is relaxed and open, and when the stomach contains food, the sphincter is closed. Wall of the stomach. The 4 layers of tissue that comprise the basic structure of the alimentary canal are found in the stomach, but with some modifications. Muscle layer. This contains of 3 layers of the smooth muscle fibers. An outer layer of longitudinal fiber muscle layer, the middle layer of circular fibers, and inner layer of oblique fibers. In this respect, the stomach is different from other regions of the alimentary tract, as it has 3 layers of muscle instead of 2. This arrangement allows for the discerning mobile characteristics of gastric activity as well as peristalsis movement. Circular muscle is strongest in the pyloric antrum and sphincter. Longitudinal section of the stomach, એમાં પાર્ટ છે પહેલાં તો ફંડસ, બોડી ને પાયલોરિક એન્ટ્રમ. પછી ઇસોફેગસથી જે ઓપનિંગ થાય એને કાર્ડિક સ્પિન્ટર કહેવાય, અને જે ડ્યુડેનમમાં ઓપનિંગ થાય એને પાયલોરિક સ્પિન્ટર કહેવાય. 2 કર્વેચર છે, લેટર કર્વેચર ને લેઝર કર્વેચર, અને સ્ટમકની અંદર દિવાલમાં રોગે આવેલા છે. Next, mucosa. When the stomach is empty, the mucosa membrane lining the thrown into longitudinal folds on rugae. And when full, the rugae are ironed out and the surface has a smooth, velvety appearance. Numerous gastric glands are situated below the surface in the mucous membrane. They consist of specialized cells that secrete gastric juice into the stomach. Blood supply કઈ રીતે થાય તો કે arterial blood is supplied to the stomach by branch of the cochlear artery and venous drainage into the portal vein. Nerve supply. The sympathetic supply to the stomach is mainly from the coeliac plexus, and the parasympathetic supply is from vagus nerves. Sympathetic stimulation reduces the mobility of the stomach and secretion of gastric juice. Vagal stimulation has the opposite effect. Next, say gastric juice and function of the stomach. Stomach size varies with the volume of the food it contains, which may be 1.5 liter or more in adults. When a meal has been eaten, the food accumulates in the stomach in layers, the last part of the meal remaining in the fundus for some time. Mixing with the gastric juice takes place gradually, and it may be sometime before the food is sufficiently acidified to stop the action of salivary amylase. ડાયાગ્રામમાં સ્ટ્રક્ચર ઓફ ગેસ્ટ્રિક જ્યુસ બતાવેલું છે. એમાં ગેસ્ટ્રિક પીટ છે, સરફેસ એપિથેલિયમ, મ્યુકસ નેક સેલ છે, પેરાઇટલ સેલ છે, સીપ સેલ છે. Gastric muscle contraction consists of a churning movement that break down the bolus and mixes it with gastric juice, and peristalsis wave that propel the stomach contents toward the pylorus. When the stomach is active, the pyloric sphincter closes. Stomach peristalsis contraction of the pyloric entrance force gastric contents after they are sufficiently liquefied through the pylorus into the duodenum in the small quarters. Gastric juice have about 2 liters of gastric juice are secreted daily by special secretory glands in the mucosa. It consists of water, mineral salts secreted by gastric juice, mucus secreted by goblet cell in the glands on the stomach surface, HCl intrinsic factor secreted by parietal cells in the gastric glands, inactive enzymes pepsinogen secreted by the sheep cell in the glands. Next, function of the gastric juice. Water further liquefies the food swallowing. Hydrochloric acid HCl acidifies the food and stops the action of salivary amylase, kills ingested microbes, provides the acid environment needed for effective digestion by pepsins. Pepsinogens are activated to pepsins by hydrochloric acid and by pepsins already present in the stomach. They begin the digestion of proteins, breaking them into smaller molecules. Pepsins act most effectively at pH 1.5 to 3.5. Intrinsic factor, a protein is necessary for the absorption of vitamin B12 from the ileum. Mucus prevents mechanical injury to stomach wall by lubricating the contents. It prevents chemical injury by acting as a barrier between the stomach wall and the corrosive gastric juice. Hydrochloric acid is present in potentially damaging concentration and pepsins digest protein. ડાયાગ્રામમાં 3 પેજીસ ઓફ સિક્રેશન ઓફ ગેસ્ટ્રિક જ્યુસ બતાવેલું છે. એમાં પહેલો છે સાઇટ, સ્મેલ, ટેસ્ટ અને થોટ. મતલબ આપણે જોઈ, વિચારી, સ્મેલ લઈ એટલે વાસ લઈ અને સ્વાદ લઈ છે ફૂડનું. એ સિફેલિક ફેઝમાં આવેલો છે. વેગસ નર્વ્સ સ્ટિમ્યુલેટ સિક્રેશન ઓફ ગેસ્ટ્રિક જ્યુસ. પછી ફૂડ ઇન સ્ટમક સ્ટિમ્યુલેટ્સ સિક્રેશન ઓફ હોર્મોન્સ ગેસ્ટ્રિન, ફૂડ સ્ટ્રીમ. એ ફેઝ આવશે ગેસ્ટ્રિક ફેઝમાં. એ પાછો ગેસ્ટ્રિન ઇન બ્લડ સ્ટિમ્યુલેટ્સ સિક્રેશન ઓફ ગેસ્ટ્રિક જ્યુસ. ત્યાંથી પાછો ડ્યુડેનમમાંથી એન્ટેરોગેસ્ટ્રોન ફૂડ ઇન ડ્યુડેનમ સ્ટિમ્યુલેટ્સ સિક્રેશન ઓફ હોર્મોન્સ. એ આવશે ઇન્ટેસ્ટાઇનલ ફેઝમાં. ઇન્ટેરોગેસ્ટ્રોન in blood reduces gastric mobility and secretion of gastric juice. Next, secretion of gastric juice. There is always a small quantity of gastric juice present in the stomach, even when it contains no food. This is known as fasting juice. Secretion reaches its maximum level about 1 hour after a meal, then declines to the fasting level after about 4 hours. There are 3 phases of secretion of gastric juice. Cephalic phase, the splurge of juice occurs before food reaches the stomach and is due to reflex stimulation of the vagus nerves initiated by the sight, smell, or taste of food. When the vagus nerves have been cut, vagotomy, this phase of gastric secretion stops. Second, gastric phase. When stimulated by the presence of food, the enterophenial cells in the pyloric atrium and duodenum secretes gastrin, a hormone which passes directly into the circulating blood. Gastrin, circulating in the blood, will supply the stomach, stimulated the gastric glands to produce more gastric juice. In this way, the secretion of digestive juice is continuous after the completion of the meal and the end of the cephalic phase. Gastrin secretion is suppressed when the pH is pyloric antrum falls to about 1.5. Third phase, intestinal phase. When the partially digested contents of the stomach reach the small intestine, a hormone complex enterogastrone is produced by the endocrine cells in the intestinal mucosa, which slows down the secretion of gastric juice and reduces gastric mobility. Two of the hormones forming this complex are uh, secretin and uh, cholecystokinin (CCK). By this swallowing, the emptying rate of the stomach, the contents of the duodenum become more thoroughly mixed with the bile and pancreas juice. This phase of gastric secretion is most marked when the meal has had a high fat contents. The rate at which the stomach empties depends to the large extent on the type of food eaten. A carbohydrate meal leaves the stomach in 2 to 3 hours. A protein meal remains longer, and a fatty meal remains in the stomach longest. Next, function of the stomach. This includes temporary storage, allowing time for the digestive enzymes pepsins to act. Chemical digestion, pepsins converts proteins to polypeptides. Mechanical breakdown, the three smooth muscles layers enable the stomach to act as churn. Gastric juice is needed and the contents are liquefied to chyme. Limited absorption of water, alcohol, and some liquid soluble drugs. Non-specific defense against microbes provided by the hydrochloric acid in gastric juice. Vomiting may be response to ingestion of gastric irritants, for example, microbes or chemicals. Preparation of iron for absorption further along the tract. The acid environment of the stomach solubilize iron salts, which is required before iron can be absorbed. Production of intrinsic factor needed for absorption of vitamin B12 in the terminal ileum. Regulation of the phase of gastric contents into the duodenum. When the chyme is sufficiently acidification and liquefied, the pyloric antrum forces small jets of gastric contents through the pyloric sphincter into the duodenum.